Liam Boyle going over my binary search 4.1 past task. Um, so for here, it's just using my vector class, but I added a binary search to it, which is here. It works for any type of an item, so that'd be like strings or integers. And it uses the different comparers, which would be in the tester class if it selects that within the test. So we have like ascending and I think descending. So for the first part of it, it just checks the comparers. If the compare equals null, so it hasn't been set, it just uses the default. And then we create the lower and the higher like bounds of the area we're searching. Binary search only works within sorted data sets, so it would have to like increase like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it then searches from there. So this is like the loop we have, so it's like iterative. So as long as lower is less than or equal to higher, it creates a center. So the center is just figured out by taking the lower and then plussing the result of higher minus lower and then dividing it by 2 to find the center. And then number is like the result of the comparison. So here is like the different if statements we have. So let's say like the fastest example would be if the number that we get, if it equals to 0, so the comparison of the center and the item equals 0, which means they're the same, it would just return that value, and then that would be the item that we're looking for. More like a possible case would be if the item is bigger than the center, we would get a number where number is less than 0. And this would mean that the item we're looking for is on the upper half of the example as an array. And to shorten the search area, it would bring the lower half of the data set up to the center. So it would like cut off the lower area and bring it up to the center and shorten it to that upper area of the data set. And then it would repeat. So then it would take, so as long as while lower is less than higher, it would create a new center using the new lower and the higher, and it would create a new center for that upper half, do a comparison between the item and then the that new center, and it would run again. And let's say this time the item is smaller than the center number, so we still know that it's part of the higher overall area of the data set, but it might be in that small, the lower half of the upper area. So to do that, we would then bring the higher, so we bring higher down to center, and we'd narrow the search again, and it might run through again. It would create the new center using the new lower and higher divided by 2. Check it again. Let's say this time item is equal to center, it would then return that. If the number isn't in there, so then the loop would eventually break and they would return -1 that's showing the item isn't found. So yeah, my code is iterative, so it like iterates through each time and it like updates to eventually figure it out. A recursive version might call itself within the code, so it might do that still, like it still has the same premises where it searches a different area, but it might, like let's say if it figures out the number is above the center, it might call itself again within the code to search the upper half, or it might call itself again to search the lower half. That's about it. Thanks.